Good afternoon, and welcome to Everybody, the podcast which shares stories that highlight people in life that make the world an interesting place, which ultimately ties us all together in unique and wonderful ways. And who am I, you might ask? I would be the head wrap socialite, wife, mom, micro influencer in the fashion and etiquette world. But on this podcast, I will be introducing you to some people who I've had the opportunity to meet along my journey, who have helped enrich me and my life in beautiful ways, and who I hope will do the same in yours. Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Everybody. Today's special guest is Barbara, whom I affectionately refer to as B-Floyd. B-Floyd and I have known each other for 32 years. We actually met while being undergrads at college, and we are sorority sisters, members of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Barbara is someone whom I really admire. She's quite an accomplished woman who has over 25 years experience helping brands achieve their goals and leverage their businesses. Now, she is also active on social media. She has a podcast, but this is only a small part of who Barbara is. So I would like to say, Barbara, thank you for joining me today on this episode.
Thank you for having me on this episode. I am Barbara, also known on the social media platforms as Monument Mom, all one word, Monument Mom. I have a blog and I'm on Instagram and I'm loosely on some of the other platforms, but I would say the blog and Instagram is where I spend the great majority of my time.
How did you come up with your IG handle? What made you choose Monument Mom?
Well, Monument Mom relates to the city where I live, Washington, D.C., the Monument. And I'm a mom, also a wife. And when I first started the social media journey, if you will call it that, I was really focusing on being a mom in a big city and how you can manage a budget and still have the life that you want to have or you desire to have. As time evolved and I really started to focus more on my son and homeschooling, I included more of that content on my social media platforms, really talking about homeschooling, giving points on how you can homeschool on a very small budget. And now that we are transitioning from homeschool to college, I'll probably focus more on just wife and mom. And so I want to continue these platforms in a way that still speaks to the evolving mom. It just speaks to who I am. And they're all phases to being, just because my son is now in college, I don't stop being a mom. Yep.
I love it. I love following you on social media, which brings me to a question that I have been meaning to ask you.
Oh, no, I got to get ready for this one.
So there was one time where I was reading a post, and the post that you had was talking about beauty and brains. And I'm going to set the picture, but it's a mother. She's on the beach. She's looking at the ocean. She has her left hand on her hip. And you know how we do when we're carrying our children when they're little? We put them on our hip, but we kind of cuff them a little bit underneath their belly. Now the baby is looking off to his right, and the mother's looking straight towards like ocean. And I know what emotions that picture conjured up for me when I saw it, along with the quote. And I'm going to quickly, if I can paraphrase what the quote said, it said, "Beauty and brains, you're more than that. You are a great mother, a hero, a loving friend from the start." And what did that mean for you, and why did you post it?
So I posted that, if I can remember, I posted that at a time that I was probably feeling a little defeated. Wearing multiple hats is not easy, regardless of what anyone puts out there on social media. We know, you and I talk often, but we know behind the scenes that is not true. It really takes a lot of work to keep everything together. And sometimes you don't keep it together. And so I wanted that mom or that wife or that woman to know, society will often try to put us in these boxes. She's beautiful or
Mm-hmm.
she's smart. Okay, well, she can be both of that or all of that, but she's also a mother. She can also be a wife, a sister, and a friend. And so I just wanted that woman to know that you're a hero. You're a
Absolutely.
hero, that women are truly like the backbone of society. I don't say that lightly, and I don't say it as like being some feminist,
Mm-hmm.
totally ignoring the role of the men in our lives. But I
Mm-hmm.
will say most of the women keep it together. We make sure all the balls are juggling, and when they come down, we're making sure that someone catches them. That post was really to encourage or to motivate some mom, some wife, or some mother, and
Mm-hmm.
let her know that she was more than enough.
That's beautiful because I love how you drop in your posts like just little gems, little nuggets of wisdom. And for myself, that was definitely a PSA. It was one of those moments where I needed, Mom, we see you. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we do forget about ourselves. Enough job just by being a mom.
Absolutely. And then we also subconsciously, or maybe not subconsciously, we also have these societal norms that may make some people or some women feel less than if they can't
Mm.
keep it all together.
Mm-hmm.
So in some cases, you can't. You need help. You need the help of a village and a tribe
Mm-hmm.
beyond even if you live in a house with your husband or your significant other. Sometimes to
Mm-hmm.
get you through those situations because everyone could be busy, right? And I just think too often women are trying to either carry this, like, put this strong face on,
Mm-hmm.
or they're constantly just doing and going. You just get
Right.
tired and burnt out sometime. And the
Mm-hmm.
reality is we're heroes, and not enough people celebrate that beyond Mother's Day. Women need to be applauded every day for the work that we do.
That's right. And a lot of times we carry so much on our shoulders that sometimes we forget like how big of a job that we're doing. But we also need those friends in our lives who walk along the journey that we do, whether or not they're a mom or not, but just to give us that encouragement, like, sis, keep doing what you're doing. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
again, we see you at some point, right? Every single person who has any type of experience, like, you want to be seen and know that you are valued and that you matter.
Yes, absolutely. Especially for all that we do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people don't see the behind the scenes, and those behind the scenes could be that you're up early taking care of things, or, staying up late. Even in my own personal experience, I work, I was homeschooling. Sometimes I would be taking care of things while I'm on a business trip. All these things that go on behind the scenes that people don't know. We need to encourage one another. Yeah.
Yes. What does self care look like for you? And what does self care do for you?
So self-care is so important. And I started some of that during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We would get online and map out clothing and
Yep.
outfits, and I mean, we would really talk about the journaling. But
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't always consistent, and so I
Mm.
said in 2023 I wanted to be more intentional about the self care.
Right.
If we're exhausted, how can we provide any care or love or anything for the members of our family? It's
Right.
virtually impossible. So I wanted to be more intentional. And the ways I have decided to do that this year by creating a joy bag. Some
What is
people might
that?
call it a joy basket. So it's all these things that spark joy for me on just a daily basis, and they're very small things. So they're
Okay.
nothing major. So I just gathered a bag that I had in the house already. And in that, I put my Bible, a book that another book that I'm reading. I put in a puzzle book. I put in
Mhm.
an adult coloring book, some nice pens and markers, maybe a couple of note cards, and just in case I wanted to send someone a quick note to let them know I was thinking about them. I decided to put these items together. I can take them wherever I want around the house, but I try to make it a point to set aside dedicated time each day to enjoy the items that I have put in that basket. My journal. How could I have forgotten that? The
Can't forget the
journal.
journal.
Yeah, because the two of us were talking about the journal during the pandemic. So for those
Exactly.
of you who don't know, and the Head Right Socialite is big into journaling. And
Oh, I love
so
a journal.
yeah, she was getting me into journaling, and you can get fancy, but you don't need to get fancy. It's a 50-cent notebook and ink pen.
Even in journaling, it is taking care of your mental well-being. And when you take care of your mental well-being, you can help others. Because if you neglect yourself, it just doesn't feed your soul.
Absolutely,
Because you're
absolutely.
giving of yourself, you're emptying your cup, but there's
Absolutely. And so, one thing I was going to ask you, if I
for
could,
sure.
let's turn the
Yeah.
tables here. No.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
The
No,
pot's
I was going to
picking.
ask you, how long have you been journaling, and do you ever go back? So I'm just starting this journey, right? But do you ever go
Right.
back and look at maybe a journal that you wrote in like 2 years ago? Do you ever go back to those?
Well, I will tell you, I've been journaling, honestly, started back from the days of the diary, when we're
Oh,
like in
I used
the
to have a
fourth.
diary as well. Oh, and my cousin broke my lock one time. But anyway, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, I still have my diary from elementary school, middle school, and high school, which is crazy. Every now and then I will go back and I will see, like, oh, she loved that person. How cute was that? She happy
Yes. Oh
home.
my gosh, I love it.
But as far as like the journal entries that I make now, I rarely go back now. That's not to say in another, 6 months or a year, but I
Mhm.
have not. For me, and everybody will be different. I guess some people will, look at their entries from last week or from yesterday.
Sure.
I find that when I empty of myself of whatever my feelings were, emotions were during that time, those pieces of who I was, I get it out of my system and I've moved on to the next part of the journey. And that's how I
Hmm.
basically look at it. Again, it's not to say that I won't go back,
Yes.
maybe a year from now. That's just something that I do. And I just find once I empty myself of that part, I'm able to move on to and the way that I scribble when I'm doing my journal, I will tell you that chances are I probably won't even recognize what I wrote. 5 in the morning, lights are still out, and I'll just pick up my journal and I'll just start writing whatever comes to my mind. So it could be, I could still be in, like, I guess it's REM sleep. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be in some sort of sleep state, but I probably wouldn't even be able to recognize what I wrote. But my question for you, because you did mention books, and I'm a lover and an avid book reader.
Yes,
What
I know.
books are you reading, darling?
Okay, so I am reading through the Bible this year.
Okay.
I as long as I've been a Christian, I've never read through the entire Bible. So,
Hmm.
Bible is a collection of books. So I guess technically I'm reading multiple books.
Okay.
So I'm starting that, or I started that in January, started January 1. And
Hmm.
it's actually not as difficult as I thought it would be. So
Mm.
I'm enjoying reading the Bible through. I also have in that bag The Alchemist. So I think
Mm.
it's on the list. It's in the bag, which means I'll be starting it soon.
Love that book.
And I'm now reading a book also. So similar to you, I've gotten in this habit of reading multiple books.
Yes.
So I don't
Mhm.
know, you must have rubbed off on me this way.
Yes,
Um,
for those of you out there who have not done the multiple book challenge, it's fantastic. Where you just buy books or you have books on your shelf and you're just reading, like, just multiple books at a time. At any given point, I could have 7 books going. So I digress for a second, but continue
Yes.
that.
No, no, no. I just think it's funny, right? Because when we first talked about that during one of our offline conversations,
Hmm.
we were talking about it in the context of me wanting to have this goal of reading. I think it was was it like 100 books or a
A
thousand
hundred
books?
books, I
Okay, yeah,
remember.
yeah, okay. Like 1,000 would have been insane in a year. So
I
yeah,
would have
but
stopped you at 1,000. I would have said, maybe you might want to rethink that in a year.
I know. You do work, right? You do homeschool. What else are you going to
Exactly.
be doing besides reading? So yeah, so at that time I wanted to read 100 books, and I remember we were in DC at a restaurant, and your
Mhm.
husband was like, "Oh yeah, 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 she's reading like 16 books." at the time. And you were like, oh yeah, you should read this, and you should read Steinbeck, and the pony. And speaking of that particular book, I had
Yes.
no idea that I was reading that book actually on the plane
Oh.
for a business trip. And by the time the plane landed, I was at the end of the book. I was like in tears. I was like, oh my gosh, she didn't tell me the pony was going to die. It was like,
Yes. Yes. Spoiler alert for those who have not read The Pony. I might just have to go back and like bleep that out.
yeah, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not reading any more of these Steinbeck books. Yeah, no, I can't do this. But anyway, and so from that, I have this whole list of books. Well, sometimes I was trying to like start one and read it all the way through, but that doesn't always happen. And it doesn't mean I won't go back to it, but it's not always like a start and a stop. So, long way to say that I'm also reading another book. So this is how we do it. That was a long way to say I'm reading multiple books.
Question.
Yeah.
How many books do you think you finished?
Okay.
Not that bad.
Yeah, no, and I don't feel bad about it. And and I'm gonna tell you why. So I did not read 100. So I started that all over again. It ended up on my vision board again.
Nice.
This year, and I don't feel bad about it. And this is like the lesson that anyone listening to this podcast could easily learn is that you can have any goal in life. You might not achieve it in the time frame that you initially thought you would. That doesn't mean that you have to give up on it. So was the goal for me, like I had to really evaluate, was really to just check boxes to say I have read 100 books, or was it to read a variety of books to get a better understanding and just have a more robust vocabulary and to be more knowledgeable on certain topics. I'm not certain actually at the end of the day what my goal was. And I actually still don't know.
I'm going to stop you right there because this is what I mean when B-Floyd drops like nuggets of wisdom. So have your pens and paper handy because she to drop a nugget of wisdom, get into the edge of my seat. I come in like really, really close to the phone and I'm just like pen and paper in hand, just waiting. So please continue before.
Okay, so I may disappoint you this time. You set me up. You are the perfect hype man. You know how the rap groups have the hype person. You would make a wonderful hype woman. Now, I was just going to say I'm at the point now where I am just enjoying the journey. And so I have decided that I want to read 100 again. That's just something to shoot for, to have a goal. But if I don't, that's great. The one thing I will say that, so I'm now reading a book that I've been thumbing through, and it's called Cultural Literacy, What Every American Needs to Know. And it's really talking about like the decline of, reading and what's taught and what people actually pick up and gravitate towards this book. And at the back of the book, they have all these terms and phrases and places that that this author thought that every American should know. So
what I've gleaned from this part of the conversation is you're enjoying the journey, and however the process takes you to fulfilling these 100 book challenge, and that it's never too late to start. It doesn't matter your age to start something. If it's in your mind, if you put an intention on it, it's never too late.
Absolutely. As a child, I read all the time. So much that I told my husband this. I was younger. My bookcase actually collapsed because I had so many books.
Your favorite book as a child? Because I know you have one.
Let me think about that. So the book that I love to read over and over again was not a single book. It was like those childcraft books that were part of like the encyclopedia sets.
Oh, yes.
And so each book,
you go way back.
Yeah. So like the childcraft books, each had a theme. So one might have been science, one was fairy tales and something else. So I love those books. So in true disclaimer here, I still have all of my childcraft from when I was in elementary school.
Oh my goodness. See, I did not know that about you.
Still have them and I love them.
And this is why I love B-Floyd. You're an inspiration to me. It's your authenticity, your willingness to share. You're an inspiration to me. What inspires you to be your best?
Ooh, you really did making me dig deep here. Well, definitely my husband and son, knowing that I have a family that's, relying on me. I want to put forth my best effort, but also my family, just like my grandparents, my parents and my grandparents. There were so many before me that sacrificed. And so I always want to, when I can, give my best.
Yeah.
And so I think often, I know sometimes it would show up, and you see this often, people, they just turn in half work. They just do the bare minimum. And I really don't think that's appropriate. I think people should
Right.
strive. I strive to do my best when I'm working on a project, when I'm pouring love into a friend. I am giving my 100%. And so that's really what really inspires me.
I'm going to ask you, how has motherhood, this journey, changed you?
There's so many people that would have known me like in college. I'll say college because those college years were probably where I met most of the friends, most, not all, but most of the
Right.
friends that I still have to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're a young adult. You're
Mm-hmm.
making a lot of decisions, sometimes even poor choices,
Right.
but you grow and you move on from those. When
Mm-hmm.
I got married, I was always saying that I didn't want to have any kids. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
adamant I didn't want to have any kids.
Mm-hmm.
But once I became a mother,
Mm-hmm.
like that just completely changed for me. I was like full on, right? I'm gonna be super mom, dedicated to it. And so here we are
Right.
today with
Mm-hmm.
a senior about to go off to college. So
And I
we're really excited about that.
can't believe you have a
I
senior about to
know.
go away to college, because in my head, honestly, and I don't know how many times I must say this in a month, in my head, we are still, okay, maybe 18 stretching it, but we're still those 21-year-old,
Yeah, well, we are
you
in our
know.
minds.
Exactly. I think we'll be forever 21, right?
So I would say to a mom out there that
Mm-hmm.
is maybe discouraged or feeling like they're overwhelmed, I would say just lean in and try to enjoy the journey and
Mm-hmm.
accept what is there. Don't worry about what is not there.
Mm-hmm.
And know again that you are enough.
And I like that, Barbara. And I think that is a great way to close up this first section of the conversation. You said it beautifully. Your post, Beauty and Brains, you're more than that. You are a great mother, a hero, and a loving friend right from the start. Those words embody exactly who you are to me. Beauty and brains, Barbara, and so much more. I am so glad that you are part of my tribe. And I am so glad that you impart knowledge and wisdom God has allowed us to meet. And
Yes.
I just feel super blessed by your friendship and the sisterhood that we share. And I honestly wish you nothing but success as you embark on being empty nesters, which is crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know that the content that you put out is not only going to be creative for Monument Mom, but it's going to be a game changer. And if there's anybody who can change the game and in ways that we look at ourselves as moms, as wives, it's you. And you will do it with nuggets of wisdom, a sense of humor, positivity, and love.
Oh, thank you so much. You're gonna make me cry over here. Thank you so much. It's like, is she talking about me? Is there somebody else on this episode?
But I just thank you so much. B. Floyd, you are truly an original. And I encourage you all, like, if you don't have a B. Floyd in your life, Get a B-Floyd in your
Get a
life.
B-Floyd.
Get a B-Floyd. Whoop, whoop. I love you so much. And thank you
Thank you. I
again
love you
for
as
being a
well.
part of this episode.
Yes, you're welcome.